Okay, so I recently saw a thumbnail on Twitter where people were giving Nintendo Land some guff for a recent video, and one of the replies mentioned a video he made about how Mario fans are viewed as greedy, ungrateful brats. So out of morbid curiosity, I checked out Nintendo Land's video, and this got me off my donkey to make a video in response. To start, I want to give my take on why people would call Mario fans that are so insistent on wanting the next 3D Mario greedy. Not that I agree with it, just why I think they'd make that conclusion. For one thing, plain and simple, Mario fans are fed way better than a number of Nintendo franchises. For a personal example, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze made DK my favorite Nintendo franchise, and my first thought was, oh boy, this game was great, I can't wait until the next Donkey Kong, surely it'll be a 3 to 4 year wait. And then it was 11 years, a full third of my life, before we got a new Donkey Kong game. All we had between 2014 and now was a port and another port. If you want to be generous, 2 Mario vs. Donkey Kong games, but one of those was the amiibo-based one that just had Donkey Kong in it, not unlike most Mario spin-offs. And even then, that's being very generous, because Tipping Stars and Mini Mario and Friends are super far removed from what Mario vs. Donkey Kong started as, which was an evolution of the arcade game that started all and DK94 after it. It's more fair to call all the Mario vs. Donkey Kong games after the GBA game Mario spin-offs that just have Donkey Kong in the title. Generally, those could be any Mario series character, and the plot would not be affected. And that's just from a series I personally care about. F-Zero had a gap of 19 years between a Japan-only GBA game and F-Zero 99. Chibi Robo was held hostage by a 3DS spin-off and then Left 4 Dead after Ziplash flopped 10 years ago. Prime 4 was announced and left in limbo for 8 years. Pikmin 2 to 3 was a 9-year gap, and then 3 to 4 was a 10-year gap, and boy howdy do I not have confidence that the next Pikmin game will come out before a decade. And Star Fox has been left out to dry since Zero flopped 9 years ago. So it's a matter of perspective. Yes, it's been 8 years since the last standalone 3D Mario release. Keep that in the back pocket for a little bit. But Nintendo are doing multiple Mario things a year compared to some of these series where they aren't even lucky enough to get a spin-off as a stopgap title between releases. So people are going to look at that disappointment, look at the output of Mario titles, and then call you greedy. And even if you have a rational response in, I'm just talking about 3D Mario, these people won't care. So you just have to tune out all the people being rude online. Like, if you admitted you rage baited with that tweet after the Direct, you have to know you'll get heat from people that took the bait and react accordingly, which is tuning them out. Additionally, you can say that you play all these games outside 3D Mario, or Mario in general on the other consoles, and that's fair. I will take you at your word for that. But if your channel's videos don't reflect that based on thumbnails and content covered, since many of the videos just focus on general Nintendo topics, or videos in certain series, like Mario, Zelda, and the like, you're just going to get people who only look at that side of things because they're just going to see the content creator and not your life outside of that. You know you play other games, but to a casual observer just watching you or even just taking a glance over your channel, they're not going to know that. So you can't be surprised if people see you as the greedy 3D Mario guy, because they are way far on the outside getting worse interpretation of what you have to say and what you think because they only saw a thumbnail or a tweet from you. But for one thing I think this video just flat out gets wrong is the argument that because Galaxy and Galaxy 2 exist, that means 3D Mario isn't traditionally a once per console thing. Because that is a clear case of the exception, not the rule, my dude. Mario 64 was the only new 3D Mario on the N64. Mario Sunshine was the only new 3D Mario on GameCube. I've already mentioned both Galaxy games. 3D World was the only new 3D Mario on Wii U, Switch, since we're apparently not counting Bowser's Fury, only got Odyssey. By your own admission of ignoring Bowser's Fury, or this weird vendetta you have against counting it, you prove my point that this is the exception, not the rule. It even extends to the handhelds, because we got Super Mario 64 DS on the DS, and then we got Super Mario 3D Land on the 3DS. Still only one per console. And on the point that this is now the longest gap between new 3D Mario games, that's also in part because the Switch generation was an 8-year console generation before we finally got the Switch 2. When you take those previous two facts into consideration, it's really no wonder we still don't have a new 3D Mario yet. And speaking of Bowser's Fury, I really don't get being so dismissive of Bowser's Fury. Yes, it's short and was never a standalone release. That doesn't change the fact it was a new 3D Mario experience and was clearly done as not just a way to get people buying 3D World's Switch port, but a clear stopgap title to tide people over until the next 3D Mario game. Which, hey, for me, personally, it worked. Bowser's Fury is 5 years old, which is still a bit of a wait, yeah, but way less of one than, say, 11 years. In conclusion, the internet is gonna the internet, and you have to ignore the bad faith takes. Be confident enough in yourself to know that they're wrong, and just tune them out. If you do want to convince them they're wrong, they're 1000% not going to be convinced by a video where you admit to wanting to be greedy because the wait's been so long, and where you admit you rage baited, but the bait was taken and you got upset. Like, what are we doing here, brother? And, goofing aside, Nintendo Land, if you watch this, you seem like a nice guy and your videos are definitely quality. I know I can disagree and be critical of you, but I want to make clear I don't have anything against you. I just call it like I see it, and that goes for when I think you're making a bad point. And that was my first official video on this channel. It's a way to start things off, I guess. I do think I'll make more of these casual yap fests. Don't be responding to or reacting to videos like this unless I really feel like I have something to say. I'm probably just going to cover games I play to give general thoughts on them more than anything. Maybe I should pitch an idea for a replacement of DK in the Mario vs. series even. Mario vs. Redneck Kong, anyone?